Hello everybody, and thank you for watching this video. In this video we're going to be detailing some changes to the course as well as your final assignment or assignment number 5. With respect to changes to the course, I'm going to be posting this video onto Blackboard so you can review it and any other relevant materials that you'll need to complete your final assignment. And what we've done with the course is we've taken I've taken the last two assignments, so your plate plans, table setting, and rental equipment, and your final PowerPoint assignment, and I've combined them into one. Okay, so you're going to be required to still create plate plans, still create a table setting, and identify what your rental requirement needs are. However, you're going to also submit your final PowerPoint as well, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm not delivering any theory for the remainder of the course. This video is going to be a practical exercise so that you can understand what's expected from your assignment and how to complete it as well. Okay, because I've taken the two final assignments and I've combined them into one. I've had to re-weight the previous assignments, and I've put those weightings and the updated course outline on Blackboard under, I believe it's important course information. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you an example assignment that you can use to kind of guide what you're supposed to be doing for this final assignment. Okay, you've already done a lot of work on your theme, your menu, your standard recipes, your ingredient consolidation list, and your recipe costings. Those are also going to be used in this assignment in your PowerPoint, because you're using this PowerPoint essentially to be able to, pitch your idea to somebody if you wanted to or needed to in the future. So it's to help you communicate what your concept is and what, all the work that you've done over the course of the semester. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Oops. Okay, share content, share my screen. There we go, and right here. Okay, so here is an example PowerPoint presentation that we're going to use for today. Okay, this is an example. This is essentially what you should be submitting as an product for assignment number 5. Okay, so I'm going to go through the PowerPoint, show you where you should be inserting or where you should be communicating all the work that you've previously done. And when we get to the plate plans, table setting, rental equipment, I'm going to show you how you can how you do that and how you incorporate it into your PowerPoint presentation. After I've done that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about PowerPoint and how to make your presentation creative. Okay. So the very first slide here in the article is just a welcome slide. Okay, this is for Scotland. Okay, so I believe it was Ian Grady that made this. He's got a theme going on for his slides. He's incorporated some images that are relevant to his his theme or his concept, and the rest of this PowerPoint is going to take you through what his business is and all the work he did throughout the semester. Important to note that Chef Grady was not a student, he was actually a professor. The next slide that he has here is a table of contents telling you exactly what you're going to be going through in this PowerPoint. Okay, so if you, I'm just going to see if I can mark this. There we go. Okay, so your executive summary is basically telling us what your concept is. Okay, so you've already done that with your first assignment. You've also identified what your demographic is and your menu. This was assignment number 1. Okay, so you have all the information you need for these particular slides from assignment number 1. Your standard recipes in his PowerPoint come next. This was your assignment number 2. So you can start to see how the work you've done over the course of the semester is culminating into this final assignment, which is the PowerPoint to help you communicate or pitch your idea to possible customers, potential investors, things like that. The next portion he's going to be going over here is his ingredient consolidation list. That was assignment number 3. And then he goes over and he's going to detail in this PowerPoint presentation his recipe costings, which was assignment number 4. Okay, everything else below that is things you need to do to be able to complete this assignment. So you have to identify what your rental equipment is. Okay, and I've put a link to a rental company on Blackboard, so you can use that. You can also use any other rental company that you choose, as long as it has costing information and things like that, right? So if you go onto the website and if you need a piece of equipment that they don't have, then plateware, utensils, cups, things like that, you can go to a different rental company website and use that one instead. Please just reference where you're getting it from, okay? You then have to show me what your table setting would look like. Okay, so this is either drawn or you've taken a picture of your table at home. So you have to show me what your tables would look like in essence, and then you have to show me your plates, what your plate plans would look like. So again, you can draw these, or you can take pictures of dishes, and you have to create a legend showing where all the ingredients are. So you're essentially taking a picture or providing a graphic of what your plates or your dishes would look like in execution. Okay? As for your total cost summary, taking that out. You don't have to do it. Okay? Reason for that is, well, because because we've consolidated the semester to some degree, I don't have enough time to go over CVP or the equations for CVP, cost, volume, profit, and things like that. And the last step here is you're going to give me a summary. Okay, saying thank you. Here's my contact information. If anybody has any questions, you can raise them now. Things like that. Okay. As we move down here, this is his executive summary. So he's saying, I'm representing a fresh catering company that opened in August 2020. Or 2019. I'm a culinary management graduate from George Brown College, and I'm catering to a group of Scottish soccer players that will have their post-event match. My company is known for serving healthy foods based here in Toronto. Okay, so he's hit on his executive summary. We know what his business is, when it opened, okay, who he is, even though he wasn't a graduate of George Brown College, what his demographic is, okay, and a little bit about his business. So he serves healthy foods. He's based here in Toronto, so on and so forth. Now, I've posted this assignment, this PowerPoint on Blackboard. And I use this as a teaching tool for 2 purposes. One, I want to show you what you're trying to create for your final assignment, but also there were some things that Chef Grady did in this PowerPoint that were not that great. Okay, so I'm also going to be critiquing this PowerPoint as I go through it. Okay. For this particular slide, his executive summary, I really like the fact that he had some graphics and he had a title. Okay. And that his theme, his slide theme was consistent with previous slides. If you were to actually run this PowerPoint on your computer, there would also be music on the first 2 slides. Okay, so it's really creative. In terms of his verbiage here, okay, yes, he's told me who he is. I want to know more about the business, right? It's good that they're serving healthy foods, but what's your concept really about? What kind of food do you sell? Get more. Tell me more about your demographic. Get more specific, and that with your first assignment. So please feel free to include as much information as you want on this slide. Really only relevant to communicating to me what your business is. Okay, and again, you find all that information from your first assignment. The next slide he has here, Okay, so it's his a potential event date, where he's located, and his contact number. You don't have to put your contact number in here. Okay, and that's actually not his number. And who he's serving. Okay, here he's got more about his demographic, or his customer demographic. He's got the theme. He talked that it's 6 professional soccer players aged 23 to 30, what they're doing, and additional information. So he's going to be serving Irn-Bru, which is an orange beverage that is sold in Scotland. His theme is Scotland, so he's consistent to his theme. He's really just talking more about his demographic here. Next, he has his menu. So this is where he's showing his menu. He's got his starters, his soups, his salads, his entrees, and his desserts. Okay. He's got a title. I mean, he's got his contact information here to make it creative, but also very professional. Okay. One thing I would mention is that I won't mention that actually. Okay. Next, he has his plate plans. But the first thing I'm going to bring to your attention here is on his, if we go back, like again, we want to make this as professional as possible. He's got a list here, his table of contents. This also acts as a list so that the viewer kind of knows where you're going in the presentation. You see that his plate plans are here, mentioned near the bottom of his table of contents. Then why is he showing his plate plans right after the menu? Right after he's shown his menu, right? You want to keep the order of your slides consistent with the table of contents. Okay. So he's got a visual. Here's his plate plans. He's got a name for each of his plates here. Okay. So this is his Scotch broth and his seared scallop. He's got a visual of the dish. Okay. Showing you what the plated dish would look like. And then he's got a legend. A numbered legend that points, that indicates what the ingredients are. So for example, here, 1 is rounds of carrots. Okay. 4 is the body of the soup, right? One criticism I would have of his assignment here is that his legends don't actually connect with the ingredients talking about, right? For example, 1 looks like it's actually talking about pea. You just want to make sure that your legend is complete and accurate. Okay. For example, here with his seared scallop, number 1 is chicken sausage. So where is number 1? Chicken sausage. It looks like it's pointing at some sort of leafy green. Okay, so it's not accurate. Number 1 is not chicken sausage. Cauliflower essence. When there's number 5. Okay, well that actually looks more like a puree to me, but we want to be accurate. And these, where you're indicating these things, are from the ingredients on your standard recipes, right? You don't have to do all of the ingredients that are in the dish, just some of the high-level stuff. Okay, so for example, in his seared scallop, mention what the garnish is, what the main ingredient is, the side, and any in this case sauces around the plate. Okay. As we move down here, got another set of plate plans for mackerel, venison, and duck egg. Again, he's given a visual of the plate plan, and he's also given a numbered legend. Okay, sorry, that's my terrible handwriting. Okay, where he indicates, so his number 1 here points directly to the fish. That's the mackerel. Okay, number 4 is pointing directly to the fennel, or sorry, his pea sprouts. That's awesome. Number 2 is pointing to some fennel right here, and number 3 is pointing to some squash puree. Okay, which is I'm guessing what is plated on. So from this, you should be starting to understand what's kind of expected from your plate plans. You take a picture, or you draw a picture of your plated dish, and you give it a lead, and you show where each ingredient is with an arrow and the number that corresponds to that ingredient in the legend. Okay, so we're continuing here. Okay, here's another good learning point from this particular PowerPoint. So he's given his picture, which is great, and he's given it a label, so this is the cootie dumpling. And he's given me a picture of it. He's given me a legend, but he has not indicated where those ingredients are because there's no 1, 2, right? From this, you know what I mean? Like if I, what is the dumpling and what is the custard? Based on this, you wouldn't know. Okay, and also if you didn't know what a dumpling was. Over here, the same criticism, right? He's got his legend, which is great, and he's got the numbers, but pointing to what? Okay, I know he's put it on the berry here, but that's getting in front of the graphic, right? So you put it on the outside, 3, and then point to the berries. Okay, so for your plate plans, you need to have a graphic or an image of your dishes. You have to have a legend, and you have to have arrows pointing to or indicating that individual ingredient from your legend. You also have to include a visual for any drinks that you have. Okay, so in this case is water and Irn-Bru. Okay, he's given what is it called? What was it? The graphics here, and he's included no legend. Okay, I think for bottled product, so in this case it's a bottle of Irn-Bru, it's kind of self-explanatory that is the Irn-Bru. Okay, especially because it's got a label on it. However, if you have cocktails, if you have things that requires a garnish, you would have to make a legend so you can show where those ingredients are. Okay. Next, he's got his standard recipes, and this is a good slide to note or to give you some feedback for your for your PowerPoints, is that this is a title slide for what's coming up next. Okay, so he's got this slide that says standard recipes. That tells the viewer that standard recipes are coming up next. Okay, it's like a transitionary slide, if you will. And then he's got all of his standard recipes. Okay, so what he's likely done is gone into Excel. He's copied each of his standard recipes from Excel, and he's probably just copy and pasted it here. So this shouldn't be too hard. Just make sure the formatting is good and consistent, because as you'll see as we progress through these slides, they're not all consistent. Okay. Here's another one of his standard recipes. Okay. Again, you'll notice that it's not exactly like the previous one. Okay. Furthermore, he's got a big chunk of wasted space here that could have easily been cropped. Okay. Same idea here. This is much larger than the previous slides. Okay. Make sure your entire standard recipes in there, but make sure it's consistently formatted with the previous slides. Same idea here. He's just showing his standard recipe, in this case for his venison. Okay, he's copy and pasted from Excel into PowerPoint, and he has not formatted it properly because this is not the same size as this. See, big, small, big, small. They're not consistent, right? Another thing here, this one appears to be more consistent with the first recipes that he had shown. This is for his venison vegetable garnish. Okay, so again, he's just labeling all of his, including all of his standard recipes in the PowerPoint file itself. This is another title slide, okay, for his ingredient consolidation list. Okay, so he's saying to the viewer, this is what you're going to be viewing next. The title ingredient consolidation list. He's also included a pretty cool little graphic right there. Yeah, although not terribly consistent with his theme, I think you'll agree. Next is he's actually labeling, or he's showing his ingredient consolidation list. Your consolidation list is going to look very different from his because we're using a different template. Okay, so for your ingredient consolidation list, first you would show your produce. Then you have another slide to show. You would show on another slide after this one your consolidated ingredient list for your seafood as well as grocery, so on and so forth. So for each tab on the template that we used, you would have one slide for each group. So you'd have one slide for your seafood ingredients, you'd have one slide for your grocery ingredients, and you have another slide for your produce ingredients. This is him just continuing from the last slide, completing his ingredient consolidation list. And now he's moving into his standard recipes. Again, we have a title slide here. And what I like here is that he's got something to do with his theme, and he's got something to do with what we're actually going to be talking about. In this case, it's recipe costing. So we put some money here, a calculator, and maybe I'm not sure what that is. So now he's moved on to his standard recipes. Again, yours are going to look your slides are going to look a lot different than his because we used a different template. Okay, so again, you would just highlight your recipe costing and you would paste it in here. Okay, so again, it's copy and paste. So not too hard, I think you'll agree. So you show each of your recipes. Okay, try to keep it consistent. This one appears larger than the previous one. Okay, we want to look professional while we're doing this. Again, this one, poor formatting. Okay. Again, just showing his cost for his recipes. We've got to a table setting. But wait, there was no title slide. It's not consistent, right? Because all the other slides had title slides. Okay, spelling error there. And in this, so he's not consistent. We would want to include another title slide before this slide to show that, hey, the table setting is coming up. Okay, so this is where he's included that graphic or that image of his table setting. This was an actual picture that he took from his home. So he took a picture of his table setting at home, which is perfectly fine. Okay, and he's included it here. He's broken the table setting down into to the place setting. So he's showing you with legend, okay, how his table would be set. So he's got a bunch of cutlery and glasses and plateware, okay, and he's indicated what those are. So number 1 is a salad fork, okay. As I've circled it, this right here is the salad fork. The number 14 is the urn brew glass, okay. Already circled it. It's consistent. And then he's got his dinner fork, his knife fork, his salad knife, and so on and so forth. So he's a legend also to his table setting. Okay. Here's where he's showing his rental equipment or rental equipment needs. You'll also notice that he has a title slide. So this is good. Okay. So what he's done is he's indicated on this slide all of the rental equipment that he needs. So in this case, he needs a white cover plate. He needs a cashmere 10-inch white dinner plate, cashmere 9-inch white salad plate, Same thing, dessert plate, side plates, plates, and then he's got his dinner. He's got his knives, his forks, his spoons. He's also indicated the amount of each that he needs to serve his guests. Okay, which gives you, and he's got the unit price right here. If you take the quantity, multiply it by the unit price, you get the total. So he's added up right here. You can see the cost of each of his ingredients. Sorry, of his rental requirements. He's calculated HS, and then he's given a total for the what was this? A total for the order that he would have to place and buy for rental equipment. Okay. What I'm here, if you do use the rental website that I've provided on Blackboard, you can indicate and go over there, and then go to the checkout. And if you go to the checkout, it's to list all the stuff that you're going to order, the quantity, the unit price, and the total for the order. So you can literally just replicate the checkout cart from the rental website. Okay. This is the slide you do not need to include, so do not include. Okay, we don't need to do it. And then he's given a concluding slide. Okay, says the end. You can be more professional or more creative. It depends on what you want to make of this. Okay, he's included some sort of graphic here. So this is probably the Highlands of Scotland. I don't know, but hopefully we would hope that this is relevant to his particular theme and cuisine type, right? So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to post this video. I'm going to create another video showing you how to use PowerPoint, just some very general features. So nothing crazy. I'm just going to show you how to insert different things like images, shapes, arrows, numbers. I'm going to show you how to you can change the design of your slides, incorporate transitions, animations, and how to review your slideshow before you hand it in. So thank you for watching this video.